You still hear me, Dr. Susko?
Yes.
Okay, we're going live. All right. Let's see here. We should be live now. There's always a little bit of a delay, so let me just confirm that we are good to go. Okay, wonderful. Just one moment. Awesome. Welcome everybody, right, to the MS Workouts YouTube channel with a special guest presenter, Dr. Tyler Susko from the Cadense Sneakers. We're really excited about today's presentation, but we are going to hang out here for just a little bit, right? It is 11:02. I know a lot of y'all are those individuals that show up early, sometimes on time to events, right? But there are lots of folks who sometimes make it a little bit late. So we're going to wait for them, give them about 2 minutes here for us to actually begin the event. Dr. Susko, we do have a couple of questions here in the chat already, so I'm going to throw them out to you. You can kind of put them in your queue, and we can discuss them whenever you see fit. So number one from Ernest Reed, does cadence work for people with spasticity and a frozen ankle?
Did you want me to talk about this now, or do you want me to hold this till everybody's here?
We can hold this till everybody's here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll just kind of give them to you now so you have them in
sounds
your
good.
queue. If that's how you want to approach
Yep,
this.
that sounds good.
Okay, does from Mangla, Mangla, Mangla,
Okay,
do these shoes help patients with MS?
okay.
Perfect. Lisa McCombs, excuse me. Why is there such a long wait for my shoes to be delivered, Dr. Susko?
I got that one queued up already.
There we go. And then we got Vajislav. Does it work for foot drop and CMT2? So those are questions that we got so far. Real
Okay.
quick, I just want to say hello to our viewers. We have Ernest in the house, Mangla's in the house, Lisa McCombs, thank you for your question. Vajislav, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hello, Ross Anderson, Samantha, Renee Rojas, great to see you. So please, y'all do post on the questions, right? If you have questions, post them in the chat box. Tell us where you're coming in from. We'd love to know, right? We have Samantha from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm in Austin, Texas. Dr. Susko, I believe you are in California, right? Sunny
That's
California.
right. Yep, Santa Barbara.
That's right. We were talking earlier about trading weather, but I don't think he wants to, right? Too hot here in Texas. We got Karina from Myrtle Beach, right? Peter's asking, could this be delivered in Canada? So, Peter, that is a great question we do have on the queue. All right. We have another one here from Connie coming from California. How does this work with the AFO? Connie, that is a good question. We actually had that one lined up as well, I do believe. Got lots of folks from Toronto. Hello from Ohio. Renee, right? Ross Anderson. Okay, great. So it's 11:05. We have 113 viewers here today. So welcome, everyone. We're super excited to have y'all join us. If you are a member of the Steady Pace Club, in your question, okay, in your comment, put that you're a member. Indicate that you're a member so that your question can get to the top. Okay. Again, if you're a member of the Steady Pace Club, the perk is you're going to have your question towards the top, right? It's always going to be answered first. So indicate to us that you're a member of the club. That way we can get your answers, your questions answered first. Okay. So let's begin, everyone. As y'all know, right, I am Felipe. I am the member support specialist here at MS Workouts. As you'll know, this YouTube channel is dedicated to strength training, right, and recovery through the steady pace technique while you're living with MS or a similar condition. Normally, Jeff comes on every Tuesday, gives y'all an exercise class to do, right? But as you can see today, we're doing something different. We have Dr. Tyler Susko, co-founder and inventor of Cadense Sneakers, right? It's an adaptable footwear that's going to help folks that have issues with mobility, which I know is a lot of us in the community here, right? A lot of y'all deal with foot drop, right? And you want to find different ways to improve that so you can walk more confidently. And so we had lots of questions about this shoe, and we wanted to have Dr. Tyler Susko talk to us about it. So I will be monitoring the queue, right? Any questions y'all have, post them. Again, if you are a member of the club, indicate that you're a member of the club. That way your question gets posted to the top. So, Dr. Susko, I think I'm going to stop hogging this microphone. Okay, if you want to introduce yourself and then go ahead and give us your presentation. I know we'd love to learn more about it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Felipe. Thanks for having me on here. Just wanted to give a big thank you to MS Workouts and the whole team there. They've been really great to work with. So today I'm going to cover what the Cadence original shoe is and the examples of its use. After that, I'll go through the research and development that we've done to get to this point. This started with robotics, and it's been about a 10-year or 15-year journey. And then we'll go over these FAQs. I'll answer as many questions that there are from the community after that. Okay, so Felipe, would you like me to just get into it, or did you want to present some of your slides first?
No, Dr. Susko, if you want to go right ahead into yours, and afterwards I can talk about kind of how MS
Great.
workouts can help individuals as well.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's get started. So we call this shoe the world's first truly adaptive sneaker. And that's because we haven't just done something to make it easier to get on. We've also tried to think about the biomechanics and how you walk with the sneaker on your foot. And this is how it works. So if you look at the left image there on your screen, the shoe is low friction and allows you to slide when you don't put very much weight on it. So I'm going to try to show that video again. So again, it can slide underneath your foot. It's made to be low friction. When you put weight on the shoe, now I'm going to direct your attention to the right video here. What happens is you collapse the low friction stuff underneath your shoe. It retracts into the shoe. And the traction elements that are in the middle of the shoe contact the ground. That gives your traction back. So if you look at the middle image here, I'm going to use my cursor. We've got in the left shoe here that's shown, the low friction surfaces, we call these the pucks that are on the outside of the shoe. These allow you to slide. The middle part is that traction. And again, let's play this video. As we push down on the shoe, you can see the middle part coming in contact. This happens pretty quickly, such that you could even jump back and forth on these shoes and maintain your traction. So again, I'm playing that video one more time for you to see how this works. So this is some examples of customers that have used our shoes in the past. The one that I'm going to play on the left here is post-stroke rehab. This is somebody that tried our shoe. They were a beta tester for us. And you can see what his gait's going to look like as he just puts the shoe on for the first time, and then after he trained with it for 5 weeks. So this is him first steps with it. He's in a warehouse. He used that to train, and he liked to hold on to something while he was walking. So he was 11 years post-stroke, and he was working his way towards recovery. And this is him after 5 weeks. This is a video he sent to us. And you can see his gait became a whole lot more fluid. Walking speed increased for him as he was training with the shoes. The next video I'll show you is somebody just walking. This is another one of our customers, our recent customers. She had sent us a really nice review, and we asked her to send us a video, of her walking in the shoes. Play this one. So here she has multiple sclerosis. She's walking, and for her, it's just about the ease of mind of not scuffing the foot and it coming to a stop as she's advancing that foot forward. And then here on the right, we're seeing somebody walking them that has cerebral palsy. He's contacting the floor as he's moving. The low friction nature just allows him to move a little bit easier. So these are some examples of people actually using these shoes. Some of the features, it adapts to most surfaces. So you can use it. It's made to be used inside and out. Regular or low pile carpet works well. Wooden floors work well. Outside, if you go over bricks or pavers or asphalt, it works on those surfaces as well. We made it easy to put on. You just put your foot in and push down on the heel and your foot slides in. And then there's a single strap that comes over that secures the shoe to your foot. When you want to get it off, there's a finger loop. You just put your finger through the shoe and then pull, and it releases that strap. And then we've taken about a year to really tune in how it looks. We think it looks really pretty. The shoe itself, initial prototypes weren't so nice. We wanted to make sure that this is something that's fashionable as well as functional. So that's just the basics of what this shoe is. Now I'll go into the research and development that went into this to get the Cadence Original to the point that it is right now. So my PhD was in rehabilitation robotics at MIT. Specifically, I was developing robots that would interface with people with neural disorders or injuries. And I was specifically focused on gait. So my project, my thesis there was to develop a robotic gait therapy solution for people that had foot drop. So this is called the MIT Skywalker. The way it works, it's a big robotic system. There are cameras that you can see that are looking at the person's legs. There's one on the right and one on the left. And there's markers that are invisible to the eye, but visible to the cameras so that I could see exactly what's happening with the person as they're walking. As the machine notices the person is about to take a step forward, it removes the surface of the treadmill. It drops to allow the foot to come forward unconstrained by the floor itself. So the problem with walking when you have foot drop is the fact that the ground is there when you're trying to advance your foot for another step. So in this machine, what we were doing is completely removing the floor so that you don't get constrained by the floor being there. You can get your foot forward nice and easily. I have other videos where I have a wooden mannequin with no muscles, obviously, no actuators, being able to walk on this machine because we just remove the floor every time someone's about to go walk. So I'll show you somebody during one of their therapy sessions. You can see how it worked here. So the track drops, the foot comes and swings forward, and you can go for your next step without having to worry about clipping your toe on the ground. And we studied this over a month-long period at MIT, and we were looking at different gait outcomes. One of the things that we found, though, is a participant in that study told us it's just so easy walking when I don't have to worry about the floor getting in the way for moving my foot forward because I'm constantly thinking, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. And that becomes mentally taxing. So this is another video here. This is somebody with cerebral palsy walking at a little bit of a faster speed. This person had trouble with both feet for their foot drop. So we dropped both tracks. And this is all controlled 100% by the computer and those cameras that are looking at the legs. So this is where it all started. The person that's walking on the right told me afterwards, she was walking 4 days a week in my lab. She said, it's just so easy to walk on that. I wish I could take it with me when I walked outside the lab. And so that began the last 9 years of trying to figure out how do we take this feeling and get it outside of the laboratory. So we started with robotic shoes, of course, but robotic shoes have a lot of problems. They're heavy. They rely on software, motors, and batteries, electronics, all of these things that can go wrong. So we quickly pivoted away from robotic shoes. And also, I've learned people don't really want to wear robots. As much as I think it's cool, not a lot of people actually think that that's cool. So we switched to what I called a more passive approach, which means no electronics, no computers, no motors, into something that has only mechanical properties. So we made this variable friction shoe in about 2018, and we ran our first test here at UC Santa Barbara. I'm a professor at UC Santa Barbara right now. So our first pilot test was in the lab here at UCSB. And we were testing these two varieties of shoes, which we called variable friction shoes at the time. And we were just taking commercially available thick-soled shoes, and we were removing some of the material and then putting in soft foam with some sort of a slidey material on the outside. And we ran with 5 subjects in our lab here with these hacked together shoes. And you can see on the bottom left table here, there was somebody with multiple sclerosis, brain tumor, cerebral palsy. And we were looking at what happens when you put this type of a shoe on. So we got ethics board approval. Every study that you do with human subjects, you need ethics board, or it's called the IRB approval through the local hospital. We got that approval. We had a physical therapist come on campus at UCSB and oversee this. We put people inside of a room with these variable friction shoes with a fall support harness just to make sure everybody was safe during that study because we didn't know what was going to happen at the time. And we let people warm up to the shoes for 2 minutes. We recorded their gait before and after warming up to these shoes that we were cutting apart at the time. And we recorded the times and the speeds that they were walking at. And what we found is 3 out of the 5 subjects improved their speed by 20 to up to 45% here with these different versions of shoes after just 2 minutes of training with them. Two of the people right here, it was participant 3 and 5 had cerebral palsy. They didn't in this study instantaneously improve their gait the way that the other people did. And we tried to figure out why are people improving. And what we found was that instead of using compensatory strategies, like a strategy that allow you to get your foot forward, people started to rely on the low friction nature to be able to slide if they came in contact with the ground. So what that resulted in is gaits that were less prone to this very wide circumduction type gait or hip hiking, launching the foot forward to get to that next step. Those are all tiring types of gait that also can be a little bit more dangerous if you're flinging your limb around to advance your gait. So this is a video of somebody. This is of the participant that had multiple sclerosis. This is her walking on the treadmill. So we were using a 6-camera setup that was around the room that we're looking on these markers on her leg to see what was actually happening as she was walking here. We saw a little bit more knee flexion, and we saw the bottom graph that you're looking at is the reduction in hip angles. So this is hip that she started with the circumduction gait where her leg was going wide to make that step, and she ended with a gait that was much more fluid and flowing and allowing her to take a straight step with that affected leg. So this was the first pilot test we did in 2019 with a variable friction shoe. Again, we were cutting holes in the shoe at this time. This work is published in the Engineering and Medicine and Biology Society conference proceedings in 2019, which was held in Germany.
And Dr. Tyler Susko, I know we have
Yes.
a lot of questions here on the
Great.
chat. Do you want to take a quick break?
Sure, go
And we
ahead.
can kind of come back. Perfect.
Yes,
Would you like to stop your screen share real quick?
I can do that.
All right,
Who
perfect.
knows if we'll be able to get it back, but we'll try.
We'll figure it out. All right, so number one, right? These are first from our members that from the Steady Pace Club. Okay, so
Sure.
number one, are you going to have a representative in Canada so that folks
Mhm.
can purchase from Canada without paying the
Yes.
fee?
Yes. So that is in the works where we're trying to do that now. Currently, we sell on our website, but all of our inventory is based in the United States. So when we ship, it has to go across the border. We get hit with all the customs, and it's effectively the amount that is charged right now for shipping is the actual cost that's being charged by the government. Send us your shoes. But
Got
yes,
it.
the plans are within the next year to set up shop in Canada so that we can ship direct and don't have to have those high fees.
Wonderful, wonderful. How easy are the shoes to put on? I know you touched on that a
Mm.
little bit in regards to the little loop that you right grab and slip
Yes.
on. So can you
Yes.
talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's been an evolution. So what I'm about to show everybody is the beta test of what we did. In that version, we had a different version of the shoe, kind of the early prototype version. And we found that that one was a little harder to put on. So we spent time in developing a system that has it has a pretty rigid back, and it also has a pretty rigid tongue. So you can put your toes into the shoe and push down, and your foot will slide directly down into the shoe. And then all you have to do is put that one strap over.
Got it. Yeah, I know we've had a member say that it is very, very easy to slide the shoes on.
Yeah,
So thank you
yeah,
for that. Okay. A couple of more questions here before we get back to your
sure.
presentation. So will the Cadence sneakers improve somebody's gait, right? We have a member who has a lot of problems in regards to their gait. They have pressure sores on their foot, they have sore knees, they have sore hips, and all of that is because of their gait, right? Because they have to
Hmm.
circumvent, they have to swing their leg out. I mean, you know
Yes,
all the ways that folks
yes,
compensate, right, when they're
yes,
dealing with problems with mobility. So
yeah,
is cadence something that you're hoping that will improve individuals' gaits?
yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to talk about this in a second too, about what we're doing with research in the future. But yeah, that's what those shoes were meant for. For things like pressure sores on the feet, that's not going to be improved by Cadence because it's at the end of the day, it's a shoe on your feet. So that's a fit thing. You have to make sure that the shoes fit correctly for you. But things like soreness of the hip muscles and soreness around the knee, it may improve with these shoes. It's hard to say on an individual case by case basis. But these motions that we're talking about, where you pull your hip out very far and circle that leg, it's really taxing on the hip joint. So if you don't have to worry about that, and one way we like to think about these shoes here in academia is kind of like there's a reduced penalty for clipping the ground when you advance your foot. So currently, if you come forward right now as you're stepping and you have a high friction shoe on, which most people do for slip prevention. They're like, I want something with a lot of grip. When you go forward to take that step and it contacts the ground, if you have momentum forward and now you're contacting the ground, your base of support is now behind you. That's a problem. So if you have a shoe that is going to hit the ground, if it hits the ground, it still moves. It can get that base of support in front of you. It makes people, we've heard, it makes people feel just a peace of mind there that if I clip the ground, I'm not going to go head over heels right now. I'm going to allow the shoe to kind of make its way in front of me for that next step. So yes, this was absolutely meant to improve gait. And that's what we were seeing in this first study that I'm presenting, that we're seeing people adapt to the shoe quite quickly. That's the kind of the interesting thing too. One of the things I would say is 70% of people adapt to the shoe very quickly. And like this very tiny, small study that we did to get started, we saw that within a couple minutes, people were already adapting their gait and changing the way that they moved. And this kind of makes sense when you think about it. If anybody that's listening has ever had an injury, like you get a knee injury, ankle injury, or whatever, your gait adapts within 20, 30 seconds to now find a pattern that's going to work for you as you limp along because you just injured your leg. So the gait will adapt very quickly to changing environmental conditions. And that's what we're doing. We're changing the friction around the foot. So yes, the shoes were made to make it easier to walk. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, and real quick, Lisa, I see that you have a question. What is the Steady Pace Club? We'll talk about that here after Dr. Tyler Susko's presentation. But just real shortly, Lisa, it is a streaming service for those living with MS, right? It's our exercise program. It's like a Netflix for those living with MS, all with the Steady Pace technique. We have live events. I'll get into that a little bit later, but that's what it is. So you'll see members of the Steady Pace Club on this chat, and one of their perks is to have their questions answered first. So, Dr. Susko, let's just finish these last couple of questions here. We can go back to your presentation. And then we're going to do a speed round of questions because we got about 50 different questions here of folks asking. And we have 154 viewers, right? Which is awesome. So just absolutely welcome everyone. I see we have folks in Austria, right? Is shipping here an option, right? We're going to have to figure that out. The UK, we got Pooja from India. So really, really, truly a worldwide community here. Caroline from London. So we will get to everyone's questions, y'all, right? Do not worry. But before we do, let's knock out a couple of more. Dr. Susko, from a member of the Steady Pace Club, do you need a certain base level of gait strength for these shoes to function properly? Or is the technique all that I need to learn?
Yeah, so you need to be able to apply weight to the bottom of the shoe in order to compress those pucks. So you have to have a baseline of strength to just be able to actually put weight onto the bottom of your shoe. If you're somebody that relies on, say, you are on a rollator or something, and 80% of your weight is pushing down into that rollator and not putting weight on the shoes, the shoe might not work for you. But if you're able to get up and put with your own volition all your weight onto your shoe, it's a good chance that the shoes will work. Everybody, with whether it's MS or stroke or any other type of neural condition, everybody is different. So we can't say that this is going to work for everybody. It's going to be dependent on your condition and your strength level. But we do have a 30-day return policy. So if you think that it might work for you, you could always order a pair and try them. And then if it doesn't work for you, send them back to us.
And Dr. Susko, just to reiterate that, so having more strength does improve your ability to use these shoes, correct? There is a relationship there. So y'all know, I gotta say, right, strength training, MS workouts, right? So it will help y'all in that sense. So guys, a couple more questions here. Are the shoes true size, or should I go a size up or down? This particular Steady Pace Club members wear a size 6.5.
Yeah, so we recommend if we don't have the exact size that you typically wear, that you actually size down. Our shoes are fairly true to size, but these are built on a large, wide platform. So we find that sizing down actually works. When I was getting samples of these when we were in production, I wear a size 10 normally. I was putting my foot into a size 9 and I was able to do it okay. Me being a normal 10, a 9.5 actually fits me okay. So if you have a size that, say we don't offer the 6.5, I would recommend going down to the 6.
Got it. Perfect. And then finally, last question here before you continue your presentation, Dr. Susko. Can the shoes be put in the washing machine? Because they're so
Ah.
beautiful, right? They're so fashionable. I love the white ones. That particularly my favorite, but I know I have a young son, right? If I
Oh
use
yeah.
them, they'll get completely messed up. So what's the kind
Yeah.
of can we put these in the washing machine? Can we air dry these? What do you think?
Yeah, so I would recommend not putting them in the washing machine. That's just because there's a lot of layers to these shoes. With all of those layers, we have adhesives, especially if you're washing them on something that's warm or hot, it could start to melt the adhesives that are holding everything together. So we recommend that it's spot clean only for these shoes. So that would be using a standard solvent to remove dirt with a cloth.
Okay. No magic eraser for Mr.
The magic
Clean.
eraser is probably okay. The thing that I'm worried about is saturating with water and heat.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Dr. Susko, for taking a moment to field those
Yeah,
questions. Like I said, I have about 50 more for you. So
great,
when you're done with your presentation, we'll do that speed round, okay?
great.
All right.
All right, so we'll get back into it. I'll try to
Yeah.
share.
Floor
Let me
is
see what we're
yours.
doing here. Okay, are you seeing my screen? You're not.
I'm not
Right?
yet, Dr.
Okay,
Susko.
let me find what happened to your Zoom. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
No, you are good. And y'all, I'm just hanging out here as Dr. Susko kind of figures the Zoom presentation out. All right, but I see that we do have lots of questions coming in. Dr. Susko, your presentation's back.
All right, we're good to go.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we had just talked through our what we called our pilot test that happened in 2019. So this is where we found some people were walking faster than 2 minutes of putting a shoe on that had variable friction. Now, these shoes couldn't have been taken out into the real world because they had these nubs that would get stuck into cracks and things like that. So the next step after this was to create our own shoes from a factory. And this is what they looked like in 2022. So we ran what was called a beta test in 2022, a couple of years ago. And so we had these shoes that you see in the top left here, very similar to what you're seeing on our website now. Not as pretty, but they were something that was somewhat functional at the time. The sole hasn't changed much since then. But we had 14 people complete this beta test. And what the beta test included was people walking at least 10 minutes per day for at least 5 days per week and for at least a month long. Some people went up to 6 months in our test. And I was checking in with these people to make sure, hey, are we safe? That was my number one concern. Now that we're taking it outside the laboratory, I no longer have control. I don't know what kind of environmental conditions they're going to see. So we wanted to make sure that these shoes were going to be safe for people before going towards the commercialization path, which we are now on right now. What we found, among a bunch of other things during that testing period, was people were wearing these shoes for two different reasons. One was rehabilitation training. The other was an assistive device. So these shoes were really made thinking back to the Skywalker for a rehab program, something that people were going to do to recover gait. But we were finding that a lot of people were wearing these and just made them easier to get around the house. So this is a video here with somebody with multiple sclerosis that was in that beta test. And you can see he's going to walk in his normal shoes. These are kind of like boat shoes. And you're going to see this is outside of his home. He's got a bunch of pavers that are kind of uneven. And you'll see how he walks with his rollators with his normal shoes and then with the Cadense shoes. So you can see his foot's really sticking on that swing, right? And so it makes it pretty difficult for him to advance that foot forward, and it makes his gait a lot slower and uncomfortable. And this is him the same day just putting this Cadense shoes on. So you can see here, this is just now sliding, and he doesn't get stuck. So for him, this was much more of an assistive device than it was a rehabilitation tool. The person with stroke that I showed you at the beginning of this presentation, he was much more using this as a rehab tool. I'm going to block out a certain time, 10 to 30 minutes a day, and I'm going to walk with these shoes, and I'm going to really focus on my gait. That would be the rehabilitation, the training portion of it. Other people are just going to put them on and just get around the house a little bit easier. So I should say that in this beta test, I was looking for a whole variety of conditions. At the beginning of the presentation, somebody mentioned CMT2. We actually did have somebody with the Charcot-Marie Tooth disease that used these shoes. And we had people with peripheral neuropathy. We had people with stroke. We had people with cerebral palsy, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, just to see, how's it doing for all these different populations, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury. And we found that it pretty much universally benefited the populations that had a difficulty advancing their foot forward. So when we talk about the shoe, we don't say that this is just an MS shoe. We say it's for anybody that has trouble advancing their foot forward. And in a technical term, during that swing phase of motion when you're trying to move your foot forward. So that was the 2022 beta test. Ongoing research. So as I said before, I'm a professor at UC Santa Barbara. So we teamed up with a team of clinicians at Northwestern University in what's called the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. And we received a $2.3 million research grant from the National Institutes of Health to compare the Cadence original shoes versus the standard of care, which is an AFO for people with stroke over this 4-year period. So people will wear the shoes for 3 months, they'll wear an AFO for 3 months, and then we'll have certain groups have the opposite order of that. And then we'll be looking at what were the effects of wearing this shoe as opposed to wearing the AFOs. So that's a little bit about the research and development that we've done and we continue to do with this shoe and looking to better serve the community. Are there any questions related to this?
I don't see any in the queue, Dr. Susko,
Okay.
relating to this specifically.
All right. Well, then I'll get into just some frequently asked questions. We get this one a lot through phone and email. Can I use an AFO with these shoes? So the answer is they actually work really well with AFOs as long as you could fit into a regular or standard wide width shoe. So these shoes are currently not built to work with widths of 2E, 4E, or 6E. So that's extra wide or extra wide shoes. The men's version of these shoes are built on a D last for regular and an E last for standard wide. So if your current AFO does not fit inside of those, then it will not work with these shoes. But if it does, and you're able to, I know that some of these AFOs now are being built with the carbon fiber and they're very thin and they insert through the side. If you have one of these types of AFOs and it works with the regular or standard, then it will work with the shoes. The next question that we get a lot, and I've already seen it today, is why the long wait? Why aren't they in stock? Well, this is I guess you would say a good problem to have when you're starting a company. We sold out really quickly for the first shipment. So we started pre-selling before they arrived to the US. And by the time that the boat came in and they arrived to our warehouse, we had already sold about half of what was in that container. So then very quickly, the rest of the container went. We do have a new shipment that's hitting our warehouse mid-July. So that's in, I guess, about 3 weeks. So we'll have some more stock then. And then we added double the amount of sizes because we saw that, hey, this looks like it's something that's going to help people. Why don't we double the sizes? So we doubled to 40 sizes that we'll now offer, but those new sizes had to get retooled. So we had to, every time you make a new pair of shoes, you have to get another mold for that size. So every size of shoe that we offer has a different bottom. And those bottoms need to be cut into steel with a CNC machine. Then you mold your foam into that. So all of those new sizes, you have to create new tools. That's why it takes so long to get the new sizes. So those additional sizes will be coming in mid-September, and we're going to start to order more and more to fill the demand. The other frequently asked question that we get is, how do I use this most effectively? So we do have a series of videos on our website. If you go to our website and on any of our pages and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see highlighted in red on the right side of this slide, there's a box that says Getting Started. If you click on that, you'll be directed to 4 videos. The videos are pretty much just me talking you through how to use the shoes, from putting them on the first time to walking to standing the first time to walking the first time, and then to trying to progress your gait. So in summary, I can start with these 4 steps. One is, I always start after you've put them on. It's let's get weight onto the shoes. Remember that in order to transition to the high friction state, you have to get weight on the shoe. So get weight on the shoe and then stand up. So as you stand up, once you get there, we talk about this technique in the videos, which is test the waters. So that's taking your foot and now moving it over the floor. and just feeling what it feels like when it's low friction, and then putting your weight on it and feeling what it feels like when it's high friction. So in doing this, you're just kind of introducing your body to this new sensation. One of the things that I think about from time to time is anytime that we've been on a low friction surface, think about if the last time you went to an ice rink, it was probably pretty scary if you would go and stand on a ice rink with just shoes on, right? It would be a low friction surface, and naturally that would be scary and dangerous. But you've never been in a situation where you've been in a low friction surface, and as you apply weight, it becomes high friction. So this is completely new. You've never experienced this before. So for some people, and I would say this is about 30%, they get into this new sensation and they need time to trust it and they need time to acclimate. So the first step is testing the waters, putting your foot on that ground, feeling the low friction nature, compressing it, and feeling the high friction nature, low friction, high friction by changing the weight on it. Then after that, you start walking, and I say to walk with smaller steps than normal. The reason is, as we go for long steps, you might roll over the front of the shoe and negate the low friction nature of the shoe. I want you to start to feel what it feels like to scuff on that foot and to get that low friction under your foot and slide the shoe forward. Once you've done that and you've got acclimated to just smaller steps to get started, then you start focusing on equalizing your step length, so left or right. It's oftentimes when we have a more impaired side, we don't have as much symmetry in our gait, and left and right steps look a little bit different. So I want you to use the shoes to then start focusing on taking each step left and right to look the same, have about the same length. Once you get that down, I think it's important to start to build rhythmicity back into your gait. So that would become thinking about timing. So every step should come at the same time, left or right. In doing so, you can think of a beat or a song, and you're kind of walking to the song. And I've described this to people when they were in my beta test as, let's think about walking as dancing. Walking can be a very fluid and rhythmic activity that's kind of been taken away when we're worried about scuffing our foot and tripping or getting stopped in our gait. So if we can build the rhythmicity back into gait, it's going to be a gait that looks a little bit better and functions a little bit better. There's a lot of neuroscience research behind the fact as well that when we engage our rhythmicity, we actually use different parts of the brain than we do when we have very discrete steps. So if we can engage that rhythmicity, whether it's in our spinal cord or if it's in our brainstem, there's a lot of opportunity to just develop a much more natural and flowing gait. And then once you're there and you've got the rhythmicity down, you've got the step lengths equalized, then I would start to take those longer steps and start to work on speed and things like that. But I think it's important with these shoes to try to make the gait into something that's kind of a dance and an art form before you start working on speed or something like that. So those are my FAQs I wanted to cover. And that's all the slides that I have prepared for today, but I'm happy to take more questions, Felipe.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Susko, did you want to talk just before we do the questions about the code that you want to provide the members with?
Absolutely. So we're going to put in the chat or the comments below this video something for $10 off for the MS Workouts community and those that have watched this video for purchasing their first pair of Cadence Originals if you're interested.
Perfect. And I'll provide them with a little bit more information on that as well. So thank you, Dr. Susko and Johannes from Cadence. We do appreciate that. And other members will love it. So let's get into speed questions, right? We got lots of questions. I want to prioritize our members. Dr. Susko, if you want to go ahead and stop your screen share, I don't foresee us needing to pull that back up. So
got it.
We're in good waters, right?
Got it. Stop share.
All right, so the first question here I have is from Ann Hewitson. Welcome, Ann, right? You are a member of the Steady Pace Club for almost 4 years, right? Since COVID happened. So Ann wants to know, is there a UK supplier? Do you have plans on having a UK supplier?
We do have plans of having a UK supplier. It should happen within the next year. Okay. But currently we do not. We're just getting started.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. And if you have any other questions about that, do let me know. Another member of the Steady Pace Club that joined our presentation is Karen. And Karen also joined us during COVID. So welcome, Karen. So she's asking, I heard you have a good return policy. What are the reasons that Cadence shoes don't work? What are the reasons people have returned them in the past?
Yeah, so some people, let's see. So some people are unable to put weight on their shoes. So I think that's something we addressed earlier. If you are 100 pounds soaking wet and rely on that rollator and you're not able to get weight on the shoe, this would be a system that wouldn't work for you. So I think that's one. Um, Other reasons for returns, there might be fit issues like there are for any other type of footwear.
Mhm.
So it's important, I think, when people buy and ask me about it, I'd say, take them out of the box, make sure they fit on a carpeted surface to get started so you don't scuff them up. So when we get them back to us, we can restock them. So
Mhm.
on a carpeted surface, put them on, make sure that they feel good. So if they don't feel good, we can get you another size. But if you typically wear a certain size and we have that size, they should feel fine. So sometimes it's for that reason. But I think those are the big ones. If you just can't get enough weight on that shoe to compress it, and then if it's just not the right size.
Okay, perfect. So, Karen, thank you for your question. Another one here from a Steady Pace Club member from Bobby. Bobby's wondering, what is the heel to toe drop on these
Mhm.
sneakers?
So it's a standard 3/8 inch. So that's standard to all running shoes. Well, most running shoes are going to have the standard, Nike or whatever is going to have a 3/8 inch drop. Um, and we built those specifically just to make it feel like any other shoe that you're going to have.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, let me just browse through. Okay, another one here from Sue Darker, member of the Steady Pace Club, right? Sue is asking, is the footbed removable? Is the footbed removable?
Yes, it is. So we have a standard removable insole in there, so you can take it out and then you could put in an insole that you have that you have in another sneaker.
Okay. I have a question here from Alaska Phil. He didn't tell me he's a member of
Mhm.
the club, but we have a Philip from Alaska, and I'm going to assume that is you, Philip. So, are sizes 14W or 15W available?
I don't think so. I have to look at the website for that. So whatever the website says, it's going to be a better resource than me. I
Okay.
could look real quick, but I don't think that we have that.
Yeah, Philip. So if you want to go to the website, cadence.com, we can also during the Q&A today with the members only, Philip, at 7 p.m., we can browse that site for you and answer that question, okay?
So it looks like we do have an option for a 14 wide on pre-order right now.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, I don't see any other questions from the members, so let's move into the general. But of course,
Mhm.
if y'all do put your questions, it will be answered. So, number one from Ernest: does Cadence work for people? And some of these you already answered, Dr.
Uh-huh.
Susko, but it's sometimes helpful
It's a
for us to
lightning
hear.
round. Absolutely.
It's lightning round, exactly. So, does Cadence work for people with spasticity and a frozen ankle?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a big part of what it was developed for. So, if you have difficulty advancing your foot forward during gait, this is made for you. So, if you have spasticity that tenses up, velocity dependent resistance to motion, typically is the definition that people use for spasticity, or constant contractures. Um, if it leaves you in a condition where you can't get that foot back forward, um, and you think it would be beneficial if you could slide it forward, then this shoe might be useful for you.
Okay, perfect. Mangla Sani asks, do these shoes help patients with MS?
Absolutely. We've seen that MS has been one of our biggest hitters so far. We have a big community. The MS community is actually a really strong community because it's a community that really understands, what understands their own gait and understands how this might work for them. We've had really good success with people with MS right now.
Yeah, and to speak to that community as well, yeah, we love working with the MS community because there's just a drive that they have to
Yeah.
improve or to maintain, and it's just very, very inspiring. So I'm glad that population is really taking advantage of what you offer. So Lisa McCombs, I'm going to say this in an angry voice, although I'm sure that Lisa is saying this in the kindest voice possible, right? Why is there such a long wait for my
Yeah.
shoes to be delivered? And I know you talked about this a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that we got oversold really quickly. So there's been interest. So if you go to our website and there's a size that you don't that's not in stock, we have a pre-order option. The pre-order option, effectively, you're ordering it before we can ship it out. And what that does for people is it just holds their spot in line. So you can order it. You could always cancel that order later. It does charge your card when you make the purchase. So you're making a purchase. It's just this is the quickest we possibly can get it to you. So we're waiting. We've got, as I said before, about 3 weeks here until we get new inventory. And as soon as it hits our warehouse, it gets boxed, the shipping team puts it together, and it gets sent immediately. And then we have new sizes. So a lot of them, if it says, when you click on the size that you're looking for, it'll tell you pre-order, and it'll also tell you when we think we'll be able to ship it. So I'm looking at a men's 14 wide because that question was asked before. And it says underneath that size, it says pre-order. It says your shoes will ship in September. So it'll tell you exactly when they'll ship on the website. And the reason that 14 wide is shipping then is because it's a brand new size. So we had to get tools for the pucks. So those were injection molded. So we had to build those tools. We had to build tools for the soft foam that's in there. We had to build tools for the harder foam that's in there. We had to build foam for the fabric that's in between. And then we had to make a custom wooden mold that now it's sewn around to get the upper just right for that size. So that's what we're waiting on. And if you pre-order now, you're effectively just holding your spot in line. So, we hope we don't sell out of them before they hit like we did the last time, but it seems like we keep getting more orders. So that's why.
Okay. All right. We got Vajislav, and I think you answered this, but does it work for foot drop and CMT too, right? If you want to kind of touch on that.
Absolutely. So CMT2, we actually did have somebody in our beta test that had CMT, and it's any condition, and that's what we found from our beta test. Any condition that makes it difficult to advance the foot forward during swing. So anything, muscle weakness, spasticity, tone, just low muscle tone, anything that is difficult to get that foot forward, it's going to be. It has the chance of working well for that person.
Okay. From Debbie, this is a great question. What if I don't have a working hamstring, right? The hamstring is that, for those of y'all that don't know, right, is the muscle responsible for bringing the leg back, right? Curling, right? The quadricep on the other side pulls the leg forward. It extends the knee. So what if an individual cannot pull that leg back without a working hamstring? What would you say, Dr. Susko? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a difficult one. As long as you could put weight on the front of that shoe, that's the important part. If you can get weight onto that front of the shoe and you can get your traction back, then it's going to perform like any other shoe would for stance and toe off. The real difference here in the shoe, like I can wear these shoes around without a gait deficit. And it acts like a normal shoe for me. I get a heel strike on my gait, and then I get a normal toe off on the gait. I can push off on it like a normal shoe. The real difference here is if you have trouble getting the foot forward for that next step. If you can't get that foot forward, it's going to slide for you. That's where it kind of shines. So without having a functioning hamstring, your toe off or your propulsion is probably going to be affected by that. But it would be affected by that with any other shoe as well. So it may help you in just getting that foot forward for the next step.
Correct. Yeah. And Debbie, we can always help you strengthen your hamstrings at MS Workouts, right? As well as your quadriceps. You can go to our YouTube channel, check out what we offer. We can get that hamstring stronger than what it is today. So we got Karina from Myrtle Beach. Hello, Karina. We have Peter, right, again from Canada. Can this be delivered in Canada? So if someone purchased it from Canada, can it be delivered to Canada?
It can, but right now our warehouse is in the United States. So you'll see the website will tell you before you check out what shipping will be. It's high because it has to go through customs.
Understood. Okay, Connie Garrett, right? Coming from California, how does this work with an AFO, right? Can you use an AFO with the shoe?
Yes. So you can use that AFO as long as you can fit in the same size shoe. So if you currently use your AFO with a regular width or just a standard wide width, D or E last, for women, it would be C or D last, then you're good to go. And it works quite well, actually. I have a couple people right now demoing it with an AFO. It works quite well, but only if you can get it into that size shoe.
Great. And just so you know, Vajislav, who asked about the CDT2, is from Serbia, Europe. So all the way from Serbia. So
All
welcome,
right.
Vajislav. We got Turtle Shell from Pennsylvania. Andrea Williams is asking, do these shoes improve balance? That's such a good question. I know that's a huge issue with our community. And balance, can be a loaded word. What does that mean specifically,
Absolutely.
right? So as best as you can, what are your experiences with balance and the shoes, Dr.
I'll
Susko?
explain where different conditions. So if we're saying standing balance, where you're standing and you're using either ankle control or hip control to actually stand upright, the shoes won't be any different than any other shoe. And so it won't do anything good or bad for you. It does have a wide base. So these shoes, when you look at them, they are fairly wide underneath your foot, which helps, I think. Um, One thing that kept coming up in our beta test is people kept telling me about balance and that it was really helpful for balance. I didn't fully understand why. I still don't.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't know, and it's not a claim that we make on our website.
Hmm.
Um, when we talk about dynamic balance, meaning balance as you walk, one of the contributors to falls would be that you clip the floor and you grip the ground as you're going forward. When you do that, like we said, your momentum is up here, your shoe is down here, your momentum wants to continue and roll over a fulcrum that's now fixed on the ground. If that fulcrum now can slide in front of you, we have a better chance of holding ourselves in dynamic balance. So for that, I think there is a benefit there. We have no clinical results that show reduction in falls or improvement in balance. It's not something that we've focused on any of our studies just yet. It's something that's in the works for future studies and something I'm going to be working on this next year to study the effects on actually balance. But those are kind of the answers. I know that was a little wishy-washy, but again, in standing, they're wide base. They'll be the same as a wide base shoe when you're standing. When you're moving, that fact that it's going to slide and not stick on the ground might help for certain conditions.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Susko. And Christine, I'm sorry, I missed your question. Christine Bedware, right? Member of MS Workouts. I got to brag about you real quick, Christine, because I know your summer goal is to get out of your kayak. She loves kayaking, but she has problems getting out, right? So we're working on upper strength with her. We're working on hip flexors, right, to help her swing that leg out. So welcome, Christine. I'm so sorry that we missed your question. But her question is, I'm worried about the height of the sole and twisting and
Mm-hmm.
rolling my ankle. So any
Mm-hmm.
comments about that, Dr. Susko?
Yeah, it is a thick-soled shoe. So it's similar to a Hoka shoe. It is built to be extremely stable. Um, if you're a person that has some sort of supination to your ankle where it turns in significantly, I would recommend using something like an air cast to get your ankle nice and straight underneath your gait before you use these shoes or any other shoe really. We haven't had anybody talk to us about problems due to the height of the sole. I know that it looks pretty big, but it also has a very big sidewall that's coming up the sides. So it's not like you're sitting on that giant sole. You are in a big pocket when your foot goes into the shoe.
Perfect. Okay, Christine, I hope that helped. If you have any follow-up about that, just let me know. I know it is 11:54, so we're running over a little bit late. So, we do have lots of questions here. We might not be able to get to all of them. I'm going to choose about five more, okay, and then we'll wrap up the presentation. If y'all have any further questions, you post them in the comment box below. We'll answer them for y'all, okay? So, with the low friction, is there going to be a problem with me falling? Right? We did have a member of MS Workouts who purchased the shoe and felt that she was scared that she was going to fall or
Mm-hmm.
slip as she
Mm-hmm.
walked. So what?
Yeah. So this is where going through those video series that I talked about will be really helpful. So the first step is to make sure you get the weight on the shoe. So you need to be able to acclimate to the shoes. A lot of people do this naturally and they're fine in 2 minutes. 30% of people, this is my estimate from those who we talked to, take about up to a week to feel truly comfortable with these shoes and to understand what's happening underneath your foot. So for those people, I would say following the tutorials is really important and ensuring that you know how to transition from low friction to high friction. And it just happens when you put the weight on it. So making sure that you do the testing the waters technique where you're just rubbing the shoe on a surface and applying weight to make sure that you've got the weight on the shoe. That's going to make all the difference in making you feel confident and understand how it works. I also do recommend when people start walking with these shoes too, I recommend a forced drag as you're taking your first steps, just to know what it feels like when you actually hit the floor. So forcing that drag is you're going almost forcing yourself to shuffle for, I'm not saying walk forever for that. Walk like 10 feet in one direction, turn around, walk 10 feet, force the drag a few times to feel what it actually feels like. And once you get that, you're going to start to see, okay, now I feel a little bit more confident with the shoe. And then you can keep going forward. But like I said before, if it doesn't work for you, if you're not able to engage that high friction area, then maybe the shoe isn't for you. And at that point, you can send them back.
Okay, perfect. Couple more questions here. Hi, right from Amy. I have the shoes and I'm using them. She loves them. I would like to know what is the next step for the shoes and for developing other helpful products. Thanks, right? So she wants to know what's next.
What's next?
I
What's
like
next?
this, but what else y'all got going on?
I would say we really, I think, pride ourselves on listening to people. So you tell us what you want next. So we have about 13 products in the making, and they're all in response to what people have asked us and told us at this point. So if you have something you want it, send us a message, send us a Facebook thing. Just tell us, hey, this is great. We are going to have a lot of products coming out that are based on our shoes, ways to modify our shoes for certain types of gait disabilities, but also we're happy to go outside of shoes. I mean, my background is all mechanics, robotics, we'll do whatever.
We are very excited about that. You know, obviously what you'll have now and then what's in the future. That's why we put this video under science and technology category, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, just one more question here for you. So, if it rains, if you're, you know, a lot of our members live in Canada, right? They're dealing with snow. Well, I don't know if they dealt with it last winter, but typically they do. What are your thoughts on that, on slippery surfaces?
Yep. So anytime you have a slippery surface with any shoe, right, it's going to reduce the friction underneath your foot. So that can be you're walking with your normal shoe. Now, these shoes are going to have that variable friction nature to them, right? So this might exacerbate how low of a friction you're experiencing there. So I would say if you're in a situation and it's raining or it's snowing or something like that, be extra cautious, and you know, maybe wear your boots that day.
Perfect. Wonderful. And then last question from Ross Anderson, and I can actually answer this one, I think. Ross Anderson's asking, where can I get these shoes, right? This is awesome. Where can I get them? So I'm going to try to answer this first, Dr. Susko, and you correct me if I'm wrong, right? We're doing this live, as they say. So if you go to cadence.com, that's correct?
Yes, that's right. Cadense. Yes.
Cadense, cadence.com, right? Choose your sneaker. You can use the coupon code MSWorkouts10 and you'll get $10 off your first purchase. And the folks there at Cadence set that up for the MS Workouts community. So we really, really appreciate y'all. I'm also going to put a direct link to that site, right, Dr. Susko, that y'all did provide us with. Right. That way you can get your $10 off. But the coupon code is MSWorkouts10, okay? And that'll get y'all your first order, okay? $10 off. Just go to cadence.com. Anything else on that, Dr. Susko, before I transition into the Steady Pace Club?
That's it. And Felipe, I'm sorry to say that I have another meeting here. It's at my
door.
Oh, no.
Right. It's all good. I understand. We went a little longer than we expected, but I didn't expect to have 150 concurrent viewers, right? So I think we'll have to do this another time, Dr. Susko.
That sounds great. And thank you so much, Felipe, for putting this on. Thank you for everybody that's joined us today. It's been great working with MS Workouts. You guys are so professional. And, you know, I really think that your programs matched with our shoes would be a really great solution for a lot of people.
I think so too, Dr. Susko. So we'll continue to contact with you and good luck on your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
All right, y'all. So a question that we had was about the Steady Pace Club. What is the Steady Pace Club? So it's our online streaming platform for those living with MS, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, and similar conditions. Okay, if you're part of this channel, you know what the Steady Pace technique is. It's that slow motion, high intensity, low impact technique, right? We're never going to ask you to move fast. We're never going to ask you to do jumping jacks. What we're going to ask you to do is focus on your proper form and reach muscle failure. Do you have to reach muscle failure every time? No, but you should get pretty close to it, right? That's going to prompt changes. And don't get afraid of the word muscle failure, okay? We have over, you know, thousands of members have done it, have gotten great results, right? It's just a terminology for getting your muscles to the point to where they know they need to adapt. We were developed in Austin, Texas at Practical Fitness Studios, and we were researched by the MS Society as an effective way to reduce the MS symptoms, right? So we actually had participants come to our studios in Austin, Texas, about 50 to 60 participants, and got really great results. So we created MS workouts. So reducing foot drop, how do we help, right? Because that's really what a lot of y'all are dealing with, right? We're looking at cadence. So we have the very, very clear path. We ask our members to execute the full body fundamentals 1 to 3 times per week. Afterwards, they'll do their focus on foot drop. It's a class of about 6 exercises, okay? And then they need to record the outcome of every single one of their results, right? That's where the science part comes in. On the days you're not strength training, you're not, performing those full body fundamentals, we have lots of low intensity activities for you to choose from. Yoga for foot drop, foot movements that we've created, foot stretch classes for your feet, ankles, and calves, foam rolling movements for those areas. So we don't want you to just strength train and then that's it, right? On those other days, we want you to doing some type of light activity. Okay, a couple of example schedules so you can see this member performs their full body fundamentals and the focus on foot drop. Their strength training 1 or 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, they're just doing light activities that we offer. Yoga, foam rolling, foot movement, stretching. Okay, this other member only strength trains twice per week. You don't have to do 3 times. You can do twice. We even have a couple of people who do once and get amazing results. So this person does Monday, Wednesday for their strength training. And then on the other days, they're just moving, right? They're performing a little yoga for 20 minutes, a foot stretch class for 20 minutes, just light, right? To get blood flow in the area. So that's kind of how the approach works. In addition, we have live workout classes every single Monday and Wednesday led by a certified steady pace trainer. He'll take you through the full body fundamentals and then work with you on the focus on foot drop series. And the advantage of this is if you have questions, gosh, I can't get this exercise to work. What should I do? Mason will help you, right? There's a one-on-one, there's kind of a Q&A afterwards, and you can ask questions and we can help really dial in your exercise form because that is crucial, right? It is crucial for you to have that person to say, hey, maybe we need to tweak this exercise a little bit, and this is how you do it. Okay. Lastly, we have lots of people who got real results with our program, y'all. Okay, this isn't a fly-by operation. We have been around since 2017. Okay, so we have been in business for a long, long time. We've delivered lots of results, and I would like to show y'all just a quick little clip here of some of our members that have gotten amazing results in regards to foot drop. Okay, so let's go ahead and play the video.
You will be impressed. I have gone shopping alone. I'm independent now. I've been shopping alone. I went to the grocery store alone. I even went out and didn't use my stick. Now, that's because I forgot it, but I did very well without it.
And I've really been working the hip flexor. And it's interesting that with my hip flexor working, I don't have foot drop, because I'm lifting my leg up a little further. So, I mean, I'm still doing the foot drop, but the hip flexor for me was the real key in fixing my foot drop.
Ironically, it's a very similar story. When I joined, I thought it was foot drop. It was my hip flexors. Once I did that hip flexor test, lift your knee up, my knee fell right down. They're like hip flexor. So I targeted it. And once they were stronger, I'm like, my foot drop, disappeared. I mean, I still get it if I do too much, but
right.
With the foot drop, I had an AFO brace on my right foot to lift the toes up. And I've recently retired that. And my wife made a comment. She was really pleased with that. She didn't think that progress would ever happen. She thought it was for life.
Foot drop for me was profound. I've had several falls as a result of it, uneven surfaces. Walking, you had a severe fall and even broke a bone, and that was so discouraging. But once I realized with you guys that I can work on that I don't have to abdicate the fact that my foot doesn't work. Focusing on that has, like I said, made a real difference. I'm not afraid to walk a sidewalk any longer, and I'm walking with more intention.
When I would go fast with things, it kind of masked it, if you will. I don't know how to describe that well, but slowing it down really helps me focus on the muscle. focus on connecting my brain to that part of my body, that I'm really working. I noticed a huge amount of strength and helped with my balance and coordination, even posture. I mean, it was just everything.
You will be impressed.
Oh, oh.
I have,
All right. So I hope that y'all enjoyed seeing that video from our clients. Like I said, I mean, these are real folks that are still working with us today, gaining results. Because y'all joined the presentation today, we wanted to give you all, right, that are interested in Cadence an opportunity to join our exercise program at a discount. So if you use the code Cadence, it's right over here, CADENCE, you'll get 10% off our 1 month or 3 month membership plan. Okay. So that's code Cadence, and you'll get 10% off our 1 month or 3 month membership plan, and you'll keep that forever. So every time you renew, it'll be at that 10% off price, right? I was thinking that, because there is such a delay, right, in shipping from Cadence, right? Because they are, right, they've had lots of orders, they're trying to fill them. It would be a good opportunity, right? Because as Dr. Susko mentioned, like strength has an impact in being able to use these shoes. So in the meantime, right, what are you waiting for? Jump onto MS Workouts. Use this coupon code Cadence, join the 1 month or the 3 month plan. We'll help you get stronger, right? So when you get your shoes, the chances are you'll be more likely to use them, right? You'll be more functional with them. So, again, that coupon code is Cadence, and that you can use that at msworkouts.com. If you want to join the club, just go to msworkouts.com, use the coupon code Cadence. If you want $10 off the Cadence shoes, right, the sneakers, use MS Workouts 10 on your checkout, and you'll get 10% off any purchase of their sneakers. So I really hope that y'all enjoyed today's presentation. I thought it was really, really wonderful. Thank you for all the members who tuned in, right? Karen, Christine, Bill, right? We had Caroline, Renee. So we really appreciate, so great to see y'all. I will see the members at 7 p.m. right with Jeff during our Q&A, because we host one every single Tuesday, so we can talk about this presentation. If you have any other questions too, it'll be an open mic session, so we can talk about anything that is on y'all's mind. Okay. For those that are not members of the Steady Pace Club, you're members of the channel, the MS Workouts channel. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't already. And we really truly appreciate you being a part of the MS Workouts community, and we hope that the Steady Pace technique is a positive impact in your life, right? Helps you improve your mobility, your balance, your strength, so you can feel better doing the things that you love. Again, my name is Felipe. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at team@msworkouts.com. Again, that's team, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, EAM @msworkouts.com. So take care, everybody. Again, my name is Felipe. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at team@msworkouts.com. Again, that's team, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, EAM @msworkouts.com. So take care, everybody. Again, my name is Felipe.